All right, I'm back. Hey, all you people on Twitter thought I got kicked off by the FCC just because of some of the things that Frank said. No, I was just traveling. This is Talking with Tony and Frank. And I gotta say, Frank, some of the things you've said and some of the things that you've suggested are quite troubling.
What is that? What is troubling?
Well, should I just make a list?
Sure.
Well, let's start with this. 281-558-5738, Talking with Tony. Who watched that vice presidential debate? Frank, did you watch it?
I did.
Who was the star of the debate?
Well, I don't think there were any stars, but
What about that fly?
I do think
What about that fly?
I do think there were some falling stars.
Did you see the fly in the no spin zone?
I don't care about the fly.
Did you see the fly though?
I don't know. I saw a roach in your
There
house.
was no. You've never seen a roach
Yes,
in my
I
house.
have.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, Tony Busby.
Okay, that's uncool.
That's
That's not the best welcome back ever. But did you see the fly that landed on his head? But dude, I could not get my head. I'm watching this debate. I'm watching the debate. I'm paying attention. I thought both debaters. I got to be honest, and I've said this on Facebook, and people have completely eviscerated me for it. I said I was impressed with both of the candidates. I thought they both did very well. Laying aside the substance, the style, as a former debate coach myself, they were both very good. But then all of a sudden, at some point during the debate, a fly landed on Mike Pence's head.
Okay.
Well, did you pay attention?
Yeah, they probably used sugar spray on his head to make him look bad.
I don't think that's what happened. But
Well, I don't know.
well, why do you always have to, I'm trying to talk about a fly, and you want to make a fly political?
Because you're trying to put down Pence, and I think
I am not putting Pence down.
Well, good. I think the man presented himself.
He
in a
was a
dignified
great debater.
manner.
There's no doubt about it that I think he debated quite well. I've always thought of him as a square, as a kind of a bore. He's a good debater, though.
He is a good debater, and particularly in contrast to the bulldog.
Who?
Trumpster, the bulldog.
Oh well, we'll talk about the Trump debate later. But can we close this topic of the fly?
No, I don't want to talk about the fly.
If I had been the moderator,
there's a fly in your head right now.
No, there's not. No,
yeah,
there's
there
not.
is.
I would have come up there.
Over there on the right.
281-558-5738. I would have come up there, and I would have said, Mr. Pence, Senator Pence, whatever, Vice President Pence.
Senator Pence.
Sorry. I need
Premier Pence.
Premier Pence, oligarch Pence, whatever. I would have said, you got a fly on your head, man.
Well, they should have taken care of that. The point is, it doesn't matter to me.
Really?
Really. What matters to me is what was said.
Okay, let's focus on that then. Lay aside the fly. I just thought the fly was interesting.
So
Obviously, you don't think the fly was interesting.
Why did you like the debate?
It wasn't a knockdown, drag out like the first one.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
That first debate was a complete. It was not entertaining. It was. I thought neither candidate acquitted themselves well. I thought the vice presidential debate was more substantive, and I thought both people involved in it were good debaters.
I thought one of them was.
Let me guess who you chose as the winner.
But it doesn't have to do with party. It has to do with what I saw and what I heard.
Okay, well, let's hear the substance of what you thought was so great.
Well, I mean, in terms of Pence, in terms of Kamala, I don't like Kamala saying, I'm talking. That's a bunch of BS.
That's style. I'm talking about substance.
Substance.
You were getting mad at me because I'm talking about a fly, which I guess would be style.
Substance is completely. She had no substance.
Let's
okay.
Hear it. Okay.
She had no substance. I mean, she basically set out nothing in the way of a future COVID agenda in terms of health care. I mean, the COVID virus. Mm-hmm. They were basically plagiarizing, which was known to. It was just known to Biden. They were plagiarizing exactly everything that's already been done by the Trump administration, okay? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that was a bunch of BS.
You got to be careful now.
And then this whole deal about I'm not answering the question about whether or not we're going to pack the court, we're going to wait for the election. That is such a fraud on the electorate, okay? The electorate demands, and it should demand, what your position is. And when there are elections, there are consequences. When the Democrats were in power, sometimes the Supreme Court shifted to the more liberal and social issues. When the Republicans are in power, it shifts in another direction, okay? But it is a body that shouldn't be tinkered with.
It bothers me greatly.
And they won't answer the question,
It bothers
Tony.
me greatly that you get so incensed by two people who were talking about two not greatly different visions for the country.
Oh, they were greatly different.
I didn't see it.
Well,
Tell me.
Let me tell you about that,
I didn't
my friend.
see it. I didn't see it.
One of the greatly different visions was that Kamala might as well, maybe they should have served wontons. Because I like Chinese food, okay, but
what does that have to do with anything?
I'm gonna get to the point.
Yeah,
and so I like wontons, but I like Taiwanese wontons.
What is that all about, right there?
What
does that
it's
even
about
mean?
this.
Go.
She said that the Trump administration, did all these policies with regard to the tariffs against the Chinese. We should maybe have a more open position with regard to the Chinese. We should no.
That triggered you, didn't it?
No.
Oh,
But no.
you.
Look, let me explain this, my friend.
I'm listening.
Here's the point. The point is, I have nothing. I don't even have anything really against communist China, but we have to recognize them as an adversary on the football field. Okay, and our wimpy and mealy mouth leaders have sold us out. And so the bottom line is that basically they want to get Trump out. One guy, and then later in the show I want to talk about this, Tony, if you'll let me.
No, you do what you want.
Because
you're a grown man, you can do what you want.
I want to talk about this concept.
As long as I can talk about your car.
This is the last American president. Okay. Donald Trump is the last American president. We'll talk about it later.
I refuse to believe
that. All right.
We're going to take a break. 281-558. We know you calling. 5738. Talking with Tony and Frank on a Friday, 6 to 8 p.m. If you're watching on Facebook Live, thank you for tuning in. We will be back.
Start your morning.
Incensed.
What?
Take it easy.
I'm relaxed right now.
This is your relaxed version? This is your relaxed?
Yeah.
Holy moly camole. Well, can I not say a nice thing about Kamala or however
you can?
Yeah.
You do it.
She's a good debater. I don't think somebody's going to walk over her. I think she's got some spunk.
I don't think she could stand up to Xi. I don't think she could stand up to Putin. I don't think she could
I think she could.
I do not.
I'm not voting for her, obviously.
She never
Biden's
had. Well, you should be voting for her because I guarantee you within 3 to 6 months she'll be president.
I will say that. I think Biden won't last a year.
That's right. And so you're voting for her. And the same reason I didn't vote for McCain because he had Sarah Palin behind her. I know some of this may offend you, but I couldn't put Sarah Palin thinking about...
She was dumb as a rock.
With McCain, we had cancer and everything else.
No, let's be clear.
Her.
She was dumb as a rock. And no offense to her, but it's true what is true.
I couldn't see her being president, nor could I see...
couldn't even tell you what paper she ever read.
Nor can I see Kamala being president. Kamala's not stupid.
Kamala is going to be your president.
Not mine.
You better get used to it.
No, not mine.
That's going to happen.
Well, not mine.
I'm telling you right now.
Ain't going to be my president.
Oh, you're not going to... What are you going to do, a coup? She's going to be your president.
No, I don't need to...
You're just going to have to refuse to acknowledge her?
Yeah,
if she's rightfully elected...
They refused to acknowledge Trump for like the last 4 years.
I don't think anybody has any dispute that Trump is the president.
No, there's plenty. They started a coup when he was when we were at the inauguration. By the way, you were at the inauguration, remember?
I was. You went with me.
Yeah, I did.
In fact, you flew with me.
I flew on your plane.
Okay, I don't know what you're talking about. What?
I flew on your plane. In fact, I met Trump at your house.
Okay, we don't need to be going into that.
I wouldn't even have known the guy, but for the fact you invited me
I don't think you
over.
ever actually paid your freight. I need that.
I probably didn't pay my freight because you invited me for the entertainment value.
You were supposed to be in the backyard. Somehow you found your way into the front yard.
That's right. That's the story of my life. And you too.
You're a junkyard dog.
Anyway, call Cody. Yeah, we're glad to have him back. We get some repartee going.
All right, we are back talking with Tony. 281-558-5738. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for for tuning in on Facebook Live. Let me make sure you understand something. This is important to me. Frank might, but I'm certainly not going to tell you what to think. But I am going to tell you to think. You hear what I'm saying? I'm not going to tell you what to think, but I'm going to strongly suggest that you think. Frank, what do you say about that?
Oh, absolutely. I think that's what this whole show's been about. Everything that I've done working with you on this show has been meant to stimulate people to think about things that they might not ordinarily think about.
With 70, the last result we got, there were somewhere around 78,000 people listening to this show, Frank. Most of them want to dump you.
That's fine.
But I've been fighting for you.
I don't believe that.
Okay. Okay, I really haven't.
I know.
And I also lied about them trying to dump you. They want to dump me instead.
Well, you keep recruiting your brother to say dump Frank.
No, I don't recruit. No, my brother says whatever he wants to say.
I don't know.
That's my brother.
Is that like these neutral debaters that neutral moderators they have at the debates?
My brother's incredibly neutral. Incredibly neutral.
Yeah, sure.
So
your sister likes me.
Yeah, well, she can barely stand you privately, but publicly she says she likes you. So back to the vice presidential debate, and then we're going to go to the pugilistic, if you will, presidential debate, and then we're going to talk a little bit about President Trump and his COVID diagnosis. So let's close the loop on this vice presidential debate. And again, I've told you my opinion on it, but as far as substance goes, did we learn anything? Did it move the needle?
I don't know if it moved the needle, but what we learned is that the Democrats will not take a position. All they do is talk about platitudes, but they don't really take a position. They need to answer the question of what they're going to do with the Supreme Court of the United States. Because here's the deal. Okay.
Okay, you sound like Biden, but go ahead.
I don't know if I sound like Biden.
I think that's his go-to phrase. Here's the deal.
Okay, here's the deal from another perspective.
Okay, yeah.
Here's the deal. If we wind up, let's say Biden wins, okay?
Which is quite likely.
I don't know about that either, because actually the polls right now are no different than they were when Hillary was running against Trump. But it's a different time. And so I don't know. I'm really up in the air about it as to who's going to win. Mm-hmm. But if let's say Biden wins, okay? First thing they'll do is do away with the filibuster. The next thing that they may do is they may try to seek the Washington D.C. to become a state. That creates 2 more senators. They'll seek that Puerto Rico has a vote to become a state, and that will create 2 more senators. That will be 4, and then they'll pack the court. Now, once you do all that, okay, we no longer have a 2-party system. So all of you out there, everybody who wants to vote or anything, we're all going to have to become supporters of what they call, which I don't believe it's true because I knew a different Democratic Party, but what they call the Democratic Party. And then you're going to have the more progressive Democrats, and you have the more conservative Democrats, but everybody's going to have to be a Democrat because everything is going to be that way, and that isn't the way our system was set up. Our system is a system. It's a beautiful thing. It's a system of checks and balances, and that's why it's worked, and that's why it's provided the freedom that it's provided. And you start tinkering with this.
People, but Frank, and I hate to digress, and I hate to be contrary, but politicians, political parties have, quote, tinkered with the process since the process began. FDR, as an example, who many think saved the country.
But what about Pearl Harbor?
If you don't mind, Trump, let me finish.
Sorry, I'm talking.
I'm talking. FDR tried to pack the courts. Do you not recall that?
I do.
The court packing attempt that he made. So I think you're almost a little Chicken Little here, not a little Chicken Little, but a Chicken Little, and you're thinking that all these bad things are going to happen. But I think the system that's set up, that has lasted for well over 200 years, works, will continue to work. There's always a pendulum that swings back and forth, and it's swinging. It sounds like it's swinging in a way that you don't like the way.
I'm not saying necessarily I don't like the way.
Okay.
What I'm saying, I mean, there are a lot of ideas that I have that are not Republican ideas.
What is the Republican idea anymore? I don't know what the Republican Party even is anymore.
Well, the old Republican Party, I have a lot of issues with it. The new Republican Party, which seems to assimilate the old Democratic Party, because the new Republican Party under Trump is, I've never seen a party that's more for the working people of this country. Okay, Joe Biden can mouth the words, but those words are not the policies he's advocating, because he's advocating the destruction of the kinds of jobs and independence that America has in the world. Joe Biden is mouthing globalist concepts, and Donald Trump is mouthing nationalist concepts. And nationalist, let me just say this on the radio, doesn't mean racist, although they try to make it sound like it's racist. Nationalist includes every black person, every yellow person, every white person, every red person, every green and every other color, brown persons, every color you can think of, and mixed colors of all kinds. But it's America first, and it's not a globalist concept. I was really upset this week, Tony, because I'm thinking that we're on the losing side of that concept, because the forces that are mounted against America as we understood it historically are overwhelming. The money, the power, and the influence. I'm not sure that anybody could stand against it. That's why I say one of the things I would want to talk about later in the show is the last American president. And
I'm discouraged. I will tell you what I'm discouraged about.
And emphasis on American.
I was talking to my kids about this election and about what it means to our country and what it means to tax policy. And I hate to be one of these people that talks about tax policy, but I think it's important. And I understand people that are, we got to do something about the inheritance tax. We got to do something about the capital gains tax. It favors, you got hedge funds managers who are paying 20%, and you got I shouldn't say normal, nobody's normal, but everyday working people who are paying, 30%, up to 39%, whatever it is.
On ordinary income.
Yeah, and that's for me. The reason that Biden scares me, the reason that Kamala scares me, is I think they've been in government for so long.
Agree with that.
They do not understand that when you suggest that you're going to take the income tax from 37% to 57%, you disincentivize people to work. Why would I get up in the morning at 7 a.m. and go to my office and bust my rear end all day long when I know that more than 50% of what I'm going to earn is going to the government? That's a problem. Now, I can understand loopholes, corporate loopholes, et cetera, and all those things that we can all talk about. But when you compare the tax plan, and again, I'm just looking at something that was reported, not just the Washington Post, but the Washington Times, the New York Times, and so you take everything with a grain of salt. Obviously, it's hard to get real news anymore that you can trust.
That's true.
But it appears to me that the proposal of Joe Biden is to increase taxes by more than 23%, and that bothers me. And I tried to explain that to my kids, and they're like, "Well, we don't like Trump." Okay, you can not like Trump, and you can like Trump. That's
well, tell
your
them
prerogative.
they give up their apartment in New York, and tell them they give up all the rest of it that's being paid for. But
that concerns me.
Here's the other side of it. Okay, I'm not worried so much because you're still going to be able to eat. You're still going to be able to have a nice lifestyle regardless of those percentages. But he's also talking about doing away with the Trump tax cuts, which put money that is meaningful in the hands of people that are working every day. And doing away with those Trump tax cuts on people who are making lesser income, $50,000 or less, means a lot. An extra $2,500
is huge.
Exactly. And you come from a background where you knew it was huge. I come from a background where I knew it was huge. The point is, it's an elitist position. It is a global position. And this, the reason I said, Tony, before that I was concerned about the world and why all these forces are mounted against, and we can talk about it later on. And this kind of pains me because you've mentioned before, I've gone to Catholic college, I've been in Catholic schools and all the rest of it. But I personally think that the Pope is a communist. No, let me tell you why. He came out this week and he said he was against market capitalism, that there had to be a change in the world. A change in the world to what?
Why would he have any say about that?
Exactly, because they're only supposed to talk about religious issues and moral issues, okay? And maybe a religious person can talk about that. But what I'm telling you is he talked about it had to do away with market capitalism. And what that means is more shifting of it to the state. And he also, in the same time frame, in the last week or two while you've been gone and whatever, but I wanted to talk about it last week, he also came out and said, he also made a deal with China where he basically has agreed that the bishops in their churches don't have to be ordinary priests that come up through the ranks and all the rest of it, that the Chinese government can place bishops in the
what is happening here?
In the Catholic Church, the same thing that happened when the Catholic Church made an accommodation with Hitler, because they basically have survived 1,000 years. And what I'm telling you is, when he talks about no more market capitalism, what's more Christian? Market capitalism, where people get money, they can give it to, in businesses, small, medium, and large, can give it to the charities that they want, can have respect to themselves as an individual. I mean, I thought that the whole premise of Christianity was that the individual was made in the image and likeness of God, not that the state was made in the image and likeness of God. The state is not made in the image and likeness of God. These institutions and these heads of these churches, like what he is, are not made in the image and likeness of God. He ought to be more concerned about abuse of children in his church than he ought to be turning around and talking about market capitalism.
Truth. Agreed.
That's what we agree on something.
We agree on something, brother. All right, we'll be back. We got a few calls we're waiting on. It's 281-558-5738. Talking with Tony and Frank. Hang in there with us. We'll be back. Man, that's the first time I've ever seen you say anything against the Catholic Church. I've never seen you say one thing about the Pope or about the Catholic Church, ever.
Well, that's because I'm a thinker of freedom, and the religion and the religions, all of them, okay, are about the people.
Y'all are Catholic, right?
No, we're Christian.
Oh, y'all are. Oh,
yeah, but historically they were Catholic.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so the point is.
See, I'm not Catholic, and I have never been Catholic.
Oh, so what? I mean, so what? I mean, the point is, the religions, all of them, Catholic, Baptist, Muslim, Christian, Jew, whatever, it's about the people. It's not about these institutions. And when the institutions turn around and start trying to talk about politics, that's a big problem for me.
I'm surprised about this Pope, though. I thought he was well respected and was a good Pope.
He is well respected, but if you listen to what he's saying, he's going with the trend in the world. And that trend, Tony, is what I've been talking about, that we're going to wind up with the uber rich who don't. Well, that's not you, okay? You're a rich guy, but you're not the uber rich guy, okay? I'm talking about the guys that have billions. I'm talking about the people who have billions. I'm talking about.
Wait, I want to be billions.
Well, you're working on it, but that's why you have the freedom to do it. But the point is, I'm talking about the guys when they have 150 billion, 200 billion. And they all band together, they're bigger than most countries in the world. And they are working with the powerful countries of the world to basically create this new society.
The New World Order?
Yes.
You sound like you're really starting to, next to go to Area 51.
It's true. And when the Pope comes out and says that he's against market capitalism and he wants to replace it with a new system.
Did he say systemic racism?
No, he doesn't use that word, but he says market capitalism. Market capitalism. That's what gives people their freedom. The guy to open up a pizza shop, the guy to open up a Subway shop.
Shrugged.
Huh? What does that mean?
Think about it.
Oh, Atlas who holds up the world?
Shrugged.
He did. But
You never read that book?
No.
All right.
I don't read.
All right. Coming back at you. We're going to take a call. Frank and I have been just going at it here. Line 1, Roberta, what's up?
So as always, I love when y'all debate spiritedly and you bring about a thought process and encourage and inspire dialogue, which is what we love.
Are you talking about me or Frank? Just please tell me
both
me.
Of y'all,
Me. Say
both
me.
of
Say
y'all.
me. Say me. Say me.
Okay, you. All right.
All right, thanks.
I wanted to give a compliment to my Aggie friends that attended the game at Tuscaloosa. One of the best things about the Alabama A&M game is the politeness that occurs between the two teams. I mean, Alabama would never have been as successful as it was had that not Bear Bryant trained at A&M, and there's just always this politeness. And one of the discussions at the game, they live streamed me in and zoomed me in so I wouldn't miss anything because I couldn't be there this year, is the sadness that Alabama fans feel for the Aggies in the discussion about the statue of Sully being taken down, which spurred the conversation about, it's horrible that they don't have Bonfire anymore, but what a great memorial they made to those, the tragedy and how they turned that into a great place where kids can reflect about life and death. One of the suggestions that came up was, why can't they have fire pots, like fire pits, and have small group conversations and bring back Bonfire that way? So I kind of wanted to get your thoughts about that because Alabama fans absolutely love Aggie fans for the most part, with the exception of those that don't go that are rabid fans and obnoxious fans. And we have a few at Alabama too, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to see what your thoughts was about that, because it was a great game and the Aggies played a great game and they gave great effort. And you have to admit, it probably is one of the best SEC games. Second Saturday this year was the best. So I'm going to let you talk about it.
Well, first off, let me tell you, thank you for the call. And you brought up several great points. And we can flesh them out a little bit, but yes, I agree with you 1,000%. Obviously, I had just left A&M when the Bonfire collapsed, and
don't put the camera on me.
The memorial that they put that's there on campus is it's incredible. I mean, it's an incredible memorial, and I think it's very thought provoking, and I think it's. It's just amazing. I hate to use that word amazing because I think it's overused. Secondly, A&M has, as you know, has always been known for being, as fans, very zealous but also very polite and respectful to the other team. And it's good to hear you talk about the Aggie-Alabama game and how, our Aggies acquitted themselves very, very well. Now, the third thing you said I hadn't really thought about. Obviously, since the Bonfire collapsed, they've had a Bonfire. I mean, I was in dorm 12, and Bonfire was literally, a walk of 20 meters from my dorm the last year that I was there. I hadn't heard this idea that you suggested, but it sounds pretty darn cool. But you remind us, one of the things when I was on the Board of Regents that I would say all the time is there are things in the world, we focus so much on things that are bad, things that, make us upset, things that piss us off, things that, annoy us in some regard. But there are still really good things in the world. And Texas A&M is one of those things. And I think our student body is one, and our former students. That's one of the good things, I believe. And with regard to the Sol Ross statute, that ain't going anywhere. I've heard it from every person that has any role in it. It's not going anywhere. I know a lot of people are worried about it, but I can just tell you, as sure as I'm sitting here in this chair across from Frank, that statue on campus is not not is it not going to be removed, but it ain't being moved. So thank you very much for the call. Frank, we have another caller. It looks interesting. Leonard from Spring wants to talk about Black Americans for Trump. Leonard, what you got, man?
Hey, how you doing, guys?
Pretty good. What's going on?
Yes, man, I appreciate you guys' conversation and the gentleman that was discussing about President Trump. As an ex-Democrat, 71 years old, I escaped from the plantation, Democratic plantation. Yeah. The spirit of Jim Jones, the Democratic Party, they are the spirit of Jim Jones, that America is racist, and they will drink the Kool-Aid. I drank the Kool-Aid, and I'm not drinking it anymore, because I realized that it took me. It's wisdom, really. It's wisdom. 71 years old. So I'm like, hey, I'm seeing that America have jobs. I've seen the immigrants. Some people call them illegals, whatever. They're coming here with the clothes on their back. And we as the Black Americans, we here already with suitcases, with closets full of clothes.
Yeah.
These people are coming here with the clothes on their back, knowing they step one foot in this country, they know they can make it. Exactly. And if any black person got any common sense, and that's what we're not using, we operate on emotions. A lot of us, emotions and fear, emotions and fear, racism. Man, are you crazy? Racism? We just elected a black president. But
I voted for that black president, Leonard, twice.
Yes, sir. Yes, I did too. But that's what, once I did that, I realized, hey, this guy's a liar too. He's supposed to be a community organizer, and then he left Chicago. These guys are still killing one another, and nobody's speaking about it.
Obama left.
Jeremiah.
Go ahead, Leonard. Keep going.
He threw Jeremiah Wright under the bus. He threw his grandmother under the bus, and now we've got his wife. Michelle's coming out. You were on the top, the pinnacle of power, and all of a sudden you coming back down talking about racism.
Yes.
How sick? How sick?
Yes, and what did they do for the look, Leonard? I really appreciate your call because
Leonard.
I was at lunch yesterday with another black man that wanted to meet with me because he knew me, he ran into me at a cigar store, and he heard my laugh. We went to lunch yesterday.
That happens often with him.
We went to lunch yesterday. We had a great afternoon. We spent probably 2 or 3 hours together, and he felt the same way you do. He built a construction company. He utilized the system. There's nothing wrong with that in terms of being, minority participation in building construction projects. But he built himself a business, and it's about economics. It's not about race. And I want to ask this question because I was deluded as well over the years. I mean, Tony was head of the Democratic Party in Galveston at one time, and I voted Democratic and Republican over the years back and forth. And there's different reasons for that, and I won't get into it. But I will tell you this. I mean, I've been to Baltimore, and I was there when it was a town that was built. And I was there when it had middle-class people that were, had good neighborhoods. Now, it's been devastated. Chicago has been devastated. Philadelphia has been devastated.
Cleveland.
All of them have been devastated. And what I just want to say, what was actually done under an administration headed by President Obama and Joe Biden, what was actually done for the black community. Donald Trump, let's just put this in perspective, Tony. I want to put this in perspective.
Go ahead.
Okay? The perspective is this. Donald Trump, from the time we were in Washington when the inauguration occurred.
Why do you got to keep reminding people of that?
I'm just saying. From the time that the inauguration occurred, this guy's been under siege. Yet.
There's no doubt about that.
Yet. And I mean, I think everybody has to agree with that because the forces mounted against him didn't want people like you. You may not be thinking of yourself as a deplorable, but I think of myself still as a deplorable, and all the rest of us who have little jobs and businesses. But the point is, he's been under siege since then. So he's had 3 years. He's been impeached. He's been assaulted from, international affairs, yet he still took care and took the time to actually look into the communities in Michigan, in different parts of the country, to start these economic zones that promoted businesses, that put money into these by public-private partnerships that allowed these communities to regenerate. I saw Harlem growing up. It looked like a war zone. It made Afghanistan look like Monte Carlo. I mean, Harlem was terrible. It was regentrified, okay? But then what happened is many of the black people couldn't live there anymore because it became so expensive in New York. But all these other cities went to hell. And they've been run by people who say, black leaders in those communities. Was the community enriched? No. But was the politicians enriched? Yes.
Yep.
Was Joe Biden enriched?
Yep.
Yes. I mean, look, how do you leave office even if Mr. Joe, who's riding on...
Can I say one thing?
Wait a minute, let me finish this. Who's riding on the train once you give it, I'm Uncle Joe. How do you leave office making tens of millions of dollars and your family all across the board? It's a bunch of BS. It's plantation for all of us.
Can I say one thing? I will not pretend that I know everyone's struggle that they went through in their life. I didn't grow up in Harlem. I don't know what it was like.
We don't know what it's like
in Cleveland. But here's what I hope. And I don't want to make this about personality, because I think that's one of the things that people get tied around the axle about. And rather than talking about ideas, we're talking about people. I want a country where a guy whose mother works in the cafeteria and drives a school bus, and whose dad is a butcher, has an opportunity to get an education and to better himself, and to rise to a point where he can run, even though he gets his face beat in, for mayor of Houston. That's what I want, and I think it's quickly going away.
And if you vote for this socialist society, it won't exist at all.
Well,
and that's the
We'll be back. 281-558-5738, and that's what we all should want. Republican, Democrat, Independent, I don't care what you call yourself.
The Freedom Party, that's what we call ourselves.
I don't care who you like or you don't like. That's
the Freedom Party.
That's what we need.
Democrats and Republicans together.
We'll be back.
Equality of race, equality of economic opportunity.
Yeah, you got This guy's a patriot.
You want to call it the Patriots?
I think it's a patriot party.
Well, I don't know, man. Then you'd have to live in Boston.
I like Boston beans.
No, the Boston Patriots.
No, I like their beer.
Oh yeah.
Boston's a nice city.
I went to school up
Boston
there.
ain't too bad. I got to be honest.
No, but their politics.
I was there on July 4th once.
I'm not so happy about their politics.
Well, their politics pretty liberal, but yeah.
Except if you go down into the working class communities, like where Whitey Bulger was from.
Oh God, why'd you have to mention him? You're just bringing up all kinds of things.
Or the old Italian neighborhoods.
We're going to take this call when we come back from Steve. He's going to trigger you. He wonders, is China a real threat?
How about Charles?
We'll get to Charles, but I
want to talk about Charles.
No, I don't care. I'm in charge.
You are in charge.
We're going to Steve first because I want to hear you get triggered again. All I got to do is say China. He gets scared.
I think he likes to come on this show just to hear me talk to him for 2 hours about
stuff.
I
love that. I love to hear myself speak, not you. Every time you say something, I'm thinking, what am I going to say next?
Yeah, I understand that,
but do let me do this because I'm going to do it on the air too. I want to introduce one of our new sponsors, the Adam Olson team. Huge real estate team serving clients all over Texas. They have 70,000 followers on Instagram, 80,000 Facebook followers. What does that mean to you? It means that when you're choosing a real estate agent with that kind of following, you're going to get more exposure to the house that you're trying to sell, or perhaps you're going to get more opportunities of the house you're trying to buy. So we want to welcome them as one of our new sponsors, the Adam Olson team. We'll put the link and we'll talk a little bit about it on the radio, but they work all over the state of Texas, but obviously Houston, Conroe, Willis, Huntsville, Bryan, Waco. They're all over. Really great real estate team, and you should.
You're going to put them on the radio.
Yeah, we'll put them on there.
558-5738. That's 281-558 KSEV.
Good to see you all.
My guess is you weren't that good last week about the sponsors.
I had the sponsor on the show, Pinkerton. I had to promote it.
All right, we're coming back. You know what? One thing about Frank, I can tell his blood pressure based on the color of his skin.
That is systemic racism.
Okay, whatever. But anyway, the redder his face gets, it either means whatever he's drinking in that cup.
Same thing you're drinking in your Coke
which
can.
is a Diet Coke,
it's
pal,
iced
or
tea,
a
buddy.
regular Coke, whatever. Anyway, it means the madder he gets, the more charged up he gets, the redder his face gets, and we're gonna
because these subjects piss
we're
me
going
off.
to test.
Can I say piss me off?
Yeah, you just did. So we're gonna test the theory now because we're gonna take a call from Steve, who his question is China a real threat? Steve, what you got?
Yeah. Hey, Tony, can you hear me?
Yep, got you, man.
Yeah, I just, there's been a lot of talk during the debates about China, and I'm just kind of wondering your perspective on it, if you think they're a real threat to be reckoned with, not just from the virus, but economically speaking, or is this just more of a perception thing of trying to get people to be in fear of China? What are your thoughts on that?
I'm going to tell you mine, and then I'm just going to whine Frank. I'm going to let him go. But I personally do think that Russia, China, other countries are absolutely a threat. I mean, there is a world. Let's not forget, there's a worldwide competition, but it's also a competition of economics. It's a competition of ideas. I think America wins going away. I think the idea of America. Let's not forget, America, in its first instance, is an idea. And when we start from within the attack on that idea, it weakens our country. And I'm not suggesting that we're perfect. I don't think anybody would suggest that we're perfect. But I do think that our system, our way of life, our opportunity, the economics, the ability for people to advance themselves and to be free and to express themselves, it doesn't exist anywhere in the world other than the United States. And I promise you, Russia, China, and other countries would love to tear that down. So do people exploit that? Do politicians exploit that? Obviously. I think that's I think all of us with common sense understand that. You know what I don't know if it was Abe Lincoln or somebody that said, common sense is not so common. But I think we all understand that there are going to be politicians and people that are trying to advance themselves personally that are going to take advantage of this competition that we have with China, with Russia, and other countries. But so I'm not sure that answered your question, but that's kind of how my point of view. Frank, what say you?
Well, I mean, this is an interesting subject. I appreciate the call, but let me just tell you a few things that you might want to think about, okay? There's no question but that China has its idea, and I don't blame China, okay? I do not blame China because they're in competition with the world. We created this country economically. It was done in a way under Nixon in order to be a geopolitical balance of power against Russia when Russia was more powerful than it is now. The Russian state, as we know it now under Putin, is a $1.7 trillion economy. They're nothing. They are no competition for us. The only two major powers in the world are China and the United States. Exactly. So in order for China is basically doing what it's doing in its interest. And I think Donald Trump has said that. I don't blame China for doing what they're doing and trying to get the best deals and all the rest of it. But there's no doubt they have plans of like 5-year, 20-year. They have all 25-year, 50-year plans in order to dominate the world economy and replace the United States as the dominant country in the world. Okay? Now, that's creating a new alliance, a new world order of things. their philosophy on the world is that the individual is not what's supposed to be celebrated. That's a good word, Tony. It's the individual is not celebrated. The collective.
It's the collective. Exactly.
The collective is celebrated. And I'm sorry, United States of America and everything I believed in, all the people that come here, the immigrants that try to come here from South America, Mexico, and every place else, Central America, the people who came from Europe, and my ancestors, Tony's ancestors, the people that come from Africa or Asia, everywhere else, they come here because they celebrate their individuals. They're individuals. They want to have their own houses. They don't want them all to look the same. They want to have their own, and it's only the uber rich in China that basically excel, and that's part of the system of the communist government that we saw already in Russia, where it becomes an oligarchy, and that oligarchy in China is controlled, in my opinion, this is an opinion, by the uber rich global corporations that are basically trying to restructure the way we exist. And I'm sorry, I'm 66 years old. It really won't impact me.
But let me say.
And I shouldn't even be talking about it on the radio because
fine.
It doesn't matter to me.
Let me say this, though.
It does matter to me because in my heart, I don't want this to happen to my grandchildren. I don't want it to happen to my son.
Let's harken back.
I want them to be individuals, and they're made in the image and likeness of God, and I don't care. I don't want them to be made in the image and likeness of the state.
Steve, thanks for the call. But let me harken back to something, because I think Steve brought up the idea of are they a threat? Let's remember, the reason we went to the moon was because we thought Russia was beating us in the space race.
Why do we have Space Force now?
Now, the reason we went to the moon is because we thought Russia, and we mobilized, this country mobilized, and we put somebody on the moon, was it 1963? Is that
something like that?
Yeah. When John F. Kennedy said, we're going to put somebody on the moon, everybody thought, you're crazier than a Bessie bug. Well, guess what? We put somebody on the moon, and we beat the Russians because we mobilized. And so when we talk about, is China a threat? Obviously they're a competitor. I think it makes us all better. And I would put the American spirit, the American can-do ability over anybody else.
Right.
Because the kind of people that come here, like, my family's been here for 5 generations in the state of Texas, and your families came to Texas and came from Italy. Mine came from England. These are the kind of people, they're going to do something different. They're adventurous. They're people that are resilient. They're can-do people. They're willing to take some risks. And that still exists in the United States, and we criticize ourselves, and we're so hard on ourselves, and sometimes we need to understand, I will put Americans up against anybody, anytime.
Now.
All the time.
I agree with you. I totally agree with you, Tony. I mean, there's no doubt about that, but we are losing that war.
I'm not losing it.
Well, I mean, your children are being re-educated, okay? You know that from your own experience, okay? They've been brainwashed in these schools to think that America is a bad place as opposed to a shining city upon the hill. Okay? It is a shining city upon a hill. It's a beacon. It's a beacon of freedom. It's a beacon of religious freedom. It's a beacon of individual freedom. It's a beacon to the world.
It bothers me.
But it is about to be snuffed out.
It's not going to be snuffed out, but it bothers me that we cannot agree that we have something very, very good, but it's not perfect. And we always want to have, the perfection is the enemy of good, or whatever the old saying was. It's kind of like when you think about your dad. May he rest in peace. He was a great man.
You knew my dad.
Yeah, I knew your dad. Yeah. A great man.
A humble man.
Was he a perfect man?
No.
But he was a great man.
And so was Rockefeller, and so was Grant, and so was all these people. Teddy Roosevelt was a great man. Was he a perfect man? No.
And that's what's happening. We find the small flaws and the imperfections, and we focus on them, and we forget that the American experiment is the best in the country, in the world.
That is
in the world.
absolutely true, and that's why we need to protect it. And it is completely under assault.
It's under assault,
and
for sure.
And by bringing in, it's not Joe Biden. He's a shallow candidate. By bringing in these socialist, progressive thinkers, they hide. They hide behind a Trojan horse like that, and they will come in and undermine all the principles. And I'm not talking about country club Republican principles, blue blood Republican principles, elitist. Those old principles are gone. What you got now, they're out there. They're the anti-Trumpers because they're licking their wounds because all of that elitism.
Because he beat them.
I'm talking about the working people, the people that don't have a voice. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Those people need to stand up and they need to vote, okay? And I'm not saying they have to vote Republican. They should vote for some Democrats, including, like I've always said, the Democratic judges down in the state courts, because they will support working people and small businesses. You vote for the Republicans that they're running, they will probably vote for the big corporations, which will do nothing for us.
All right, we're going to come back. 281-558-5738, talking with Tony, although Frank's doing a lot of talking himself.
No, you triggered
We'll be back. I triggered him. We'll be back.
What about the other guy?
We need to give away some steaks. Because did Duke say we're giving away some steaks?
Yes, Duke's great.
Duke's is awesome.
But you're going to do some of this on the radio, right?
Yeah. But I do want to mention, because it's nice to have sponsors that like the show.
And he has great
the
music.
Adam Olson team. I've said it before. I will say it again. Great real estate professionals. Huge following online. So whether you're trying to buy a home or a piece of property, or whether you're trying to sell it, they are the guys and gals that you need to contact. We're going to put their information on the website. It's already on there, and I want you to look them up. If you need some help, they're the folks you need to call, and we'll talk a little bit about it on the radio as well. We're going to give away 2 boxes of steaks in the next segment. We got about another hour, and then after that, Frankie,
Yes, sir.
I'm going to Cafe Annie.
Well, that's one of them elitist places.
I know. I think everybody that knows me, especially the people that grew up with me, knows that I'm like the least elitist person that there's ever been around.
That's true.
Right? Yeah.
I'd say some of your adversaries would say that too. In fact, they think that you're deplorable, but not in the same way I'm.
I'm definitely deplorable, but I'm not shaving my face until January 1.
Okay, well then we're gonna call you ZZ.
ZZ Top It.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right, baby.
So we're going to take our favorite caller, Sharon.
And what about Republicans and Catholics? You just take that.
I don't know anything about Republicans. I know nothing about Catholics. I don't think I've ever walked into a Catholic church. What do you call it? Y'all call it a church?
Yeah, I think you call it a church, Tony.
Yes.
I think you call it a church.
Now, I've sued the Catholic Church.
Yes, you have. I have not. I have a problem suing them, but my son doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I know that for sure. And then we got somebody who wants to talk about China. Boy, they love China. They want to talk somebody from a Leaf that wants to talk about China.
Okay.
Well, you love to talk about China.
No.
Have you even been to China?
Yes, I've been to Hong Kong.
That wasn't China when
I've
you
been
went
to
there.
Taiwan.
They consider it China, but it's not really China.
No, really? Who says it's not China?
China says it's China, but Taiwan doesn't say it's China.
They say it's the original China.
Okay, well, still, have you been to China?
Chiang Kai-shek went to Taiwan because...
Have you been to China?
I haven't been to communist China, no.
Have you been to China?
But the bottom line on that China is I got no problem with
Look how
that.
mad he gets. Have you been to China?
Not what you're calling China. I don't call China.
Uh-huh.
The point is
there 2 Chinas or 1 China?
2.
Oh, there is. Mm-hmm.
But what I'm saying is,
Well, nobody knows what you're saying because you haven't been to China.
I have been to China.
You've been to Taiwan. You've been to Hong Kong. Neither of which are China.
Hong Kong's part of China.
It is now since 1991, but it wasn't.
That's true.
Yeah, I was in Hong Kong when it was its own little.
I was
deal.
there before 1991 when it was still British.
Exactly.
And
So
it
you
was-
haven't actually been to China.
And I've been there since.
Oh.
But let me say
My
this.
question is, what are you doing in China? See, now that's the real truth comes out. What are you doing over there?
Over where? Over where? Which part of China?
And who knows what you're up
Taiwan or Hong Kong?
to? Either one, you're up to no good.
Well, I'm up to no good all the time, but I was doing business. But the point is, I don't have anything against communist China. They have their philosophy on what they're doing. It's up to us to take responsibility for what we're doing and to protect our economy. I don't want to dictate to them as to what they do. Do I agree with their system? Not necessarily. Do I agree? Not at all. But
did you hear that?
Mm-hmm. Yes, not at all.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I don't agree with their system. Do I agree with the things they do in terms of human rights? Not at all. Do I agree with the circumstances of the COVID virus? Not at all. But I can't correct that problem. Okay, and America can't correct that problem unless we want to start a global war, and we don't want to do that. So the point is, we need to protect America. We need to protect American values. And those values are for every color, race, and creed, and every nationality. But protect what you got. Cherish it.
Take it easy, big boy. Take it easy.
His face is turning red.
Your face is getting redder than your hat.
I don't have a red hat on.
You have red hat.
No, this is a blue hat.
Your hat is black, actually.
It's blue.
You don't even know what your hat is.
It's blue.
Jesus.
You're colorblind.
No, you have red writing on your hat.
It's red writing on it. Red Riding Hood.
There's something really off about you.
I know. I find myself.
Ladies and gentlemen, there's something wrong with him. There's something really wrong with him. I have carried this guy for the last 30 years. Terrible. Terrible, I'd say. Terrible.
If it wasn't for me, he would have gone off the rails a long time.
Oh, really? Like, you think I'm not off the rails right now?
Well, this is the best I could do. I didn't say I was perfect.
Well, there's a lot of... we're selling a lot of advertising here. 75,000 viewers. I may have made that up.
I don't think you made it up.
Listeners.
Hey, whoever listens to us, fine. I listen to us. And I appreciate every one of you who are listening to us.
Me as well. Me
Facebook.
as well. And if I say something that offends you, because I got mad. That's a fancy watch you got on over there, big boy.
Not as fancy as yours.
This is literally got this out of a Cracker Jack box.
I couldn't hear you, what?
I got it out of a Cracker Jack box.
No, that watch costs as much as my house.
A lot more in your house.
Probably.
No, I'm kidding.
Probably.
Welcome to Talking with Tony, here on AM 700 KSEV. Straight talk from a decorated Marine, successful lawyer, business owner, and philanthropist. Now, here's your host, Tony Busby.
All right, Steve, our producer, I love it when he gives me the point. He says, TB, go. But Frank, we got so many people waiting to talk to us, but I've got to on the air talk about our newest sponsor, the Adam Olson team, one of the great real estate teams serving clients all throughout Texas. And the good thing about them is they have such a large following on Facebook and Instagram, which means if you're looking for a house or a piece of property, they're got a leg up. Or if you're trying to sell a piece of property or a house, they have a leg up because they have such a large following. So I recommend them 100%. Adam Olson team. We're going to put them on our Facebook page so you can find them, and we want to thank them for being a great sponsor of the show. And before
Thank you. Welcome to the show. This is just Frank saying that. It's not my show, but I'm here.
We love you, Frankie.
No, you said you wanted me off the show.
No, I'm going to kick you off the show, but that doesn't mean I don't like you. And one other thing I want to say, we have a lot of callers waiting. The next caller is going to get some of these great Duke's Butcher Shop steaks, and we're going to put that on the Facebook page too. Duke's steak. I mean, man, I'm telling you, they have steaks, they have Wagyu, they have
what the hell
chicken.
is that?
It's some fancy stuff. It's really, really good.
I
chicken,
eat round.
They got that. They got all kinds of shellfish, shrimp, etc. Chicken, steaks. DukesButcherShop.com. Awesome. You can order, and if you use the promotional code Busby, you get a 10% discount. So I encourage you to go to their website and buy yourself some.
And Duke personally is a nice fella, and I spent an afternoon with him.
He's a cool dude, and it's been one of our first and best sponsors. And we give away 2 boxes of steaks. Each box has 4 steaks each. And so the next caller, we're going to give away a box of steaks, and that person is going to be Rusty, line 2 from Houston, wants to talk about Republicans and Catholics. What you got?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's kind of a good way to put my topics.
I just rely on Steve. He puts it on the screen. I just say it.
What you got, Rusty?
But anyway, we was talking about stacking the court and stuff like that.
Yep.
Let me get back to that. But let's talk about America. And exactly, see, we can only rely on what happened in America, right? I mean, there was no history. They did not have a written language, so they were prehistoric, actually, in North America and South America too, right?
Well, that's not America. That was the continent. I don't know what it was called. I guess it would be North America, but it wouldn't.
It was North and South America. They did not invent the wheel.
No, but there were dinosaurs there too. So I mean, can't forget them.
No.
Frank's was out to lunch.
We have 2 models, and Tony, I'm up there with you. I'm kind of in the Ireland, but we have the English model and we have the Spanish model. If I'm not correct,
yeah, in a way, but it's all Western European, and the point is that we had a common value. Okay, there was a commonality with regard to values. And it was those values which have basically created the system that we live in today. Of values.
Well, the English kind of did not force them to speak their language or adopt a religion.
Force who?
They wanted to separate and exterminate. Actually,
forced who? You're talking about the Indians that were here?
The natives, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's what happened all over the world. Okay.
Well, South Americans, they're all Catholics and they all speak Spanish.
I'll let you take this call, Frank.
That's right. But in Baltimore, when they formed the 13 original colonies, the Catholic colony was Maryland. Okay, and the Quaker colony was Pennsylvania. And the point is, all over the world, you had people struggling to do different things. But out of that was forged a Western European tradition and a Western European values, which have allowed voting rights for women. Name me other countries where women are treated as well. I'm not talking about Europe, okay, because we're in the same zone there with them. But you name me South America, Asia, Africa. You tell me where people who are different, people of color in Asia. You tell me where black people have all these kind of rights in Asia. You tell me where Muslims have rights in Asia other than countries that they may actually be Muslim countries. China.
Well, America is unique for sure. I mean, that's what I say. I think North America, things start breaking down in Central America, like what we call Latin America. I told you.
That's
Tony
right,
wasn't
because
here.
they had dictatorships and they didn't continue on with the values that came basically from Northern Europe, okay? But even, I mean, the Spanish model broke down, my friend.
That was right. There was a bad model because they had what you call banana republics.
That's right.
Well, I thank you for I want you to make sure, if you don't mind, Rusty, make sure you give your contact info to Steve, our producer, because I want to send you some good steaks. How about that, man?
Okay, let me, when you run for office, you can say, okay, I'd like to give a shout out to all the teachers for doing such a good job And a shout out to all the soldiers, because they teach them English.
Yes, I agree with you, Rusty, because
for the call,
if you don't have a common language, you're the Tower of Babel, and you got a country that can't exist.
I want to reiterate this because I think it gets lost in the shuffle, and I appreciate that call. It just bothers me to my core that we find, that, your history, the history of the United States, you annihilated all the Native Americans, and you did this, and you did that, and you did it. Yes, and it was done all over the world. But you know what? We also did a lot of good. And I think that gets lost in the shuffle, and it bugs me to no end. It bugs me to no end that we forget that there's a lot of good. There's a lot of good things that have been done in the United States. There are a lot of people that have gotten a voice that would not have a voice otherwise.
That's what I'm saying.
In the United States. There are people that come here. People still from all over the world want to come here for a reason. You think they want to come here to be oppressed? No, they want to come here for liberty. They want to come here for opportunity. They want to come here for individualism. They want to come here so they can recognize and appreciate the fruits of their labor. That's what they want. People come here from all over the world. When they talk about we're going to build the wall, the reason they're building a wall is because people want to come here. And so I think sometimes we get seen on Seattle and Portland and other places across this country. And listen, I'm ready to listen to anyone's point of view.
I ain't ready to listen to.
I will listen.
I ain't ready to listen to spoiled upper middle class kids
see,
who burn down buildings and use a concept of systemic racism
trying to make
in order to try
is that we forget
do what?
That there's a lot of good in the United States. We've done a lot of good in the world. We do a lot of good in the world, and I refuse.
I agree with
and
that.
that's not to say we haven't done a lot of bad things. Okay,
but
just like I have, when the final letter is written about Tony Busby, when I stand before my Maker, am I going to try to deny some of the things that I've done that I do not that I'm not proud of? Of course, I can't deny it. But my argument will be, I've done more good than bad.
Every saint,
I've done more good than bad.
Every sinner has a past. Every saint has a past, and every sinner has a future.
Exactly.
Buddy.
All right, we'll be back. We're going to take some more calls and give away some more steaks. 281-558-5738. Talking with Tony and Frank, and we're going to take a short break.
Everything to everyone.
I had to go off. I'm sorry.
Good. That's about time.
I am just tired of people being so negative about everything about that we do. I'm tired of being negative.
Then why the heck are you standing up for a socialist party?
I'm not standing up for anything other than my family, my friends, my country, the people that I know do good work.
I got that.
I don't care if they put an R by their name or a D by their name. I could give two shits about it.
So I brainwashed you.
That's it. So I'm just saying.
The Freedom Party, my friend.
Call it
what it's Democrats and Republicans, but the point is what they're trying to...
Just bugs the hell out of me.
What they're trying to foist on us, Tony, will take all that away. What they're trying to do, when you tell me about... Come on.
Some little kid with a skateboard breaking the window of a cop car for a guy that spent 30 years as a police officer trying to do the very best that he or she can do, and you got some kid who's some spoiled little
for piece of $50,000 a year
who comes over here and just
he or she
breaks
puts their life on the line.
I'm just like, I got my brother-in-law who's a police officer, and he tells me, man, I don't know if I want to do this anymore.
I agree with you, and I know him, and he's a stand-up guy.
And when people like that say,
it's a problem.
I don't know if I want to do this anymore, and when my sister says, I don't know if I want him to do this anymore,
that's my point.
We got a problem.
But that's my point, because people haven't stood up and given their voice, okay? And if we lose this battle, and the tide turns the other way, we'll never get it back.
Washington, Seattle, Wisconsin,
Portland,
California, Portland, and many other places.
Oh, Louisville, all kinds of places.
We've already lost.
Now, I understand, my friend, and that's why I'm telling you this may be the last American president.
And that's the
Whether
thing.
you like Trump or don't like Trump, he's the last American president.
I don't necessarily, to be honest, I think he's done himself a great disservice.
Of course he's done himself a great disservice. He's not a eloquent speaker.
But what
he's
worries
not a
me-
lawyer,
what-
silver-tongued devil.
What worries me, what is that supposed to mean?
Well,
What's that supposed to mean?
I don't know. I have a few of those silver tongues myself, but
What worries
I'm just
me,
saying
it
he's
just worries
not.
me if we
And neither was Michael the Archangel.
so polarized that we have to choose a side.
You have to choose a side.
I don't want to choose a side.
That's the problem, my friend. You got to choose a side, and it's not Democrat or Republican. It's American. The side you need to choose is American. It's not Democrat or Republican.
Used to be there was like arguments that we talked about
Because we had common values.
tax policy was are we going to tax 28% or 38%?
Right.
Those are arguments we can have. What's better for the economy?
Right.
That's not what we're having anymore.
No.
We're having something completely different.
No, that's exactly right. That's my point. That's exactly my point. This is about systemically changing the country into a different system than we currently exist. And George Soros.
Oh, God. Oh. Frank, you're getting me blue, man.
George Soros.
You're getting me blue, Frankie. I'm just getting down in the dumps. I don't know if George Soros even exists.
This little period. Well,
I've never seen George Soros.
I guarantee he knows you exist.
I bet he doesn't know who I am.
He does when you keep talking on the radio because he's gonna come visit you.
Okay, I'm going to trigger you again. I'm going to give away some more steaks from DukesButcherShop.com. Line 3, Evelyn from a Leaf wants to talk about China. What you got?
Yeah, I definitely agree with y'all when you said
Whoa. Let me just stop you right there. When you say you agree with y'all, I don't agree with Frank. So who are you agreeing with?
Well, the one that said that China looks at the collective rather than the individual.
Okay,
that would be me.
I do agree with that.
Okay.
I do agree with that. That's a different worldview, but I agree with that.
That was
Go ahead.
my you see, well, I'm going to start calling Tony Joe Biden because he plagiarizes me.
No.
He's starting to plagiarize me.
I was just wandering around the hallway. I don't know how I got here.
Did you go to TSU?
No, I went to Delaware State.
Yeah, exactly.
Go ahead.
Okay, that I would also from
That was good.
the 21st century they had said would be China.
Yeah.
And China tends to look at 100 years.
That's right.
In other words, if they don't get something done today,
They take what they call the long view. Exactly. Yeah.
And America typically looks at the last 3 months.
Well,
Exactly.
we have the attention span of a 3-year-old kid, basically.
And this is one of the issues. Keep your thought because I want you to finish what you're talking about. But this is one of the concepts where what market capitalism that we have. That's one of the fallbacks of it. I mean, that's one of the imperfections of it because we're interested in making money today and not worrying about what the impact of that is in the future, where the Chinese are looking at a long-term view of dominating the world. And that's okay. Yeah. That's their view.
I mean, it's impressive, but you got to understand what's going on.
Yeah, which means that you're going to be dominated.
Not me, Frank. I've told you I want to move. I want to go somewhere.
Well, there ain't going to be no place to move, buddy, because you're going to be encircled.
Evelyn, finish your thoughts, please.
Yeah, please.
Okay. The other thing is that China has purchased a lot of assets in the United States.
Yeah,
we allow both individuals from other countries as well as governments to come in and purchase assets such as China has purchased the port of Seattle, the capital of California, Sacramento.
Sacramento, okay.
They have a huge investment in L.A.
There are huge investments all over the Caribbean. There's huge investments everywhere. And the point is, that's the competition. But the problem isn't the Chinese. It's a free market system that we have. The problem is when America doesn't protect itself, when it doesn't protect itself.
That we have a free market system, but why should we allow foreign nationals to come in and buy 100% of our assets?
I agree with. Let me stop you there. I agree with you 100% on that because if American companies go to those other countries like China. They can't have 100%. That even in South America,
or even in Mexico, you can only the Mexican company has to have 51%.
That's the point. And so when Trump talks about free trade, he's talking about real free trade. Okay, he's not talking about these deals where. And that's the same thing with the climate accords. We have to go contribute money to this thing, to this treaty, where these other countries like China doesn't have to do it, or India doesn't have to do it. These other countries. The problem is the United States gets the short end of the stick. We kind of open up wide and say basically go ahead and buy what you want, and they do. They bought the Waldorf Astoria. China did in New York. That's fine. But make sure that if they're
reciprocal.
If they're not allowing our companies to do the same thing in China, then what kind of dumbasses are we?
No,
it's not them, it's us.
I'm perfectly happy to compete when it's fair.
Right.
I believe Americans, the people that, like I said, that will come in here. I am perfectly happy.
At the present time.
It is not. It is
as
not.
long as it's fair, I am perfectly happy to compete.
And one of the problems with that was that when the globalists put China into the World Trade Organization and did not allow everybody to compete on a level playing field. Now you've got this 20,000-pound gorilla over there that we've created, and all of a sudden it's bigger than we are. And that's fine. It is out there, but the point is, are we going to say, hey, we'd like to do business with you. You can do business with us, but let's make it fair. Don't steal our technology and
follow the rules. Don't steal our IP, etc.
Right, exactly. Yes. That's the point. That is the
point. Thank you for the call. Do you want some of those steaks?
I want some of those steaks.
You got them. Thanks for the call.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
So, Frank, I think you made a great point. I mean, I just have so much faith in American individualism, and I have so much faith in the idea and the experiment of the United States that I'm happy to compete with anybody. I just want a level playing field.
You're extremely
I want a level playing field. I want a level playing field.
Right, but when you start, you see, Tony, look, I make this. I've made a bunch of criticisms of me for going off and stuff. The one criticism I have about you is that you have a good heart and still believe that we're not in this absolute drag-out war where people are trying to where you can still make an accommodation with the other side. You cannot. These people have the people who are against the United States of America inside our own country are not willing to make.
They don't want to debate, and they don't want to compromise.
Make a reasonable deal with you, okay? It's a case you can't settle. And I know as a lawyer, you don't settle cases, you make them settle. And that's the way America has to be if it's going to continue with its values. And I have to say, that's one of the things. It's the only reason, one of the reasons that you and I are friends, because I know how good your heart is.
Whoa, what?
I know
friends. Did you say friends? But that's a gross overstatement.
I know.
That is a gross overstatement of our relationship.
I know how good your heart is, and the point is you're still looking for the goodness in this deal, and there isn't any, because I'm telling you, I mean, you want to talk about the Catholic Church? I just went down on. I didn't want to talk about the Catholic Church. No, but we were. I just went down on the Pope, but I've been saying.
Wait, what did you just say? That does not sound right. That does not, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry you had to hear that. There is a real problem in the Catholic Church, clearly. I don't know what's going on.
I was not an altar boy.
I don't know what that was, but I do not agree with it publicly.
They made me clean candles, actually. The truth is.
I don't know what that was. I don't know.
No, but what I'm trying to, let me finish what I'm saying.
Well, you said it all right.
Let me say what I'm saying.
You said it.
I criticized the Pope because of his position. But there are other leaders in that church that basically wrote to Trump and said, you are the only possibility of protecting the values that make this world a place that we should live in, okay? And that it's a fight against good and evil. when you talk, wait, let me finish.
The older you get, the more you think the sky's falling.
No,
Keep going.
The sky is not falling.
Well, it sounds like it from your point of view.
It's not. What I'm telling.
Oh my goodness! Oh, Chicken Little.
No, when you create a state which has no groundings in morality and values, but simply operates in order to aggrandize power and money, you are creating an amoral world.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, they know what I'm talking about.
I don't even understand where you're coming from. You're like over there, and I'm over there.
No, I'm trying to bring you up to where I am.
I got to be honest. You're scaring the devil out of me. I want to talk to Charles from Memorial Park, line 1. Charles, what you got? Frank is driving me nuts over here. What's up, Charles?
Well, I guess you're fixing to get driven nuttier.
Oh, gosh. Okay,
hey,
go ahead.
Charles, if you're nuttier, I want to hear you.
Oh, but you peas in a
you
pod.
got it, buddy. You fixing to get it right between the eyes, I promise.
Oh, you're
My objection is my objection is that there are no Protestant justices on the Supreme Court and hadn't been for several years.
No what?
I got no justice of her being a Catholic, but I think we're being I'm on a level playing field too, and we're being screwed. I mean, it's almost like we're not even part of the country anymore.
Well,
all these justices, none are Protestants.
Isn't Roberts
No, there's 4 Catholics on the court
think
already.
Is Roberts Catholic?
I think so.
No,
Yeah,
there's no Protestants. There's no.
Oh, you're worried about Protestants.
Oh, I got no problem with Protestants. In fact, I believe that Martin Luther, for instance, the Lutheran, he was a Protestant, and I think that he probably had it right.
Supreme Court.
No, I understand that, but I mean, I don't disagree with you. I don't think they have to be Catholics, but I don't think we should be judging people by what they are. I think they should be judging people by what their values are, whether they're Catholic,
As long
Protestant.
as they don't take away the right of a working person to have a fair
shake.
shake.
My wife had a political meeting and had a UN official and an elected Austrian official called Act for America. And all just got all riled up, and they said the only thing preventing Bush's New World Order is taking over the Protestant denominations. I mean, they've taken over the Catholic Church. Yeah. He's a commie.
I don't disagree with you because I believe. I don't disagree with you. I believe that these churches that have spun off from Catholicism, that have created community churches and done things of Protestant and modifications of Baptist and all the rest of it, I think that they have tried to maintain the beliefs without having the hierarchical global vision that we're seeing in the leadership of the Catholic Church. But I can tell you that the nuns and some of the priests who are not involved in politics in all these countries in South America, Africa, and all the rest, those people are working every day to help people. And the same with the missionaries from other Christian churches that are Protestant churches. And I agree with you. I don't care what I don't care if there are no Catholics on the Supreme Court. I just want to know what their values are. I don't care what their religion is. Or if they're.
Thank you for the call.
Right. We're the majority of the population in the country, and we have no justices. We're the majority of the population.
I agree with that, and I have a big problem when Joe Biden comes out and says, the next Supreme Court justice I'm gonna consider is an African American. Okay. Now I don't have any problem. Yeah, I don't have any problem with African Americans. I love them. But the point is, they're 11% of the population, okay, or 12 or 13% of the population. Yet the people are using them in order to advocate for things that are anti-American and basically to tear down the country, and that's a crime to do that. That's terrible to do that.
No, I'm with you there. I just don't think that Protestant religions are being exterminated because that's one proof.
Believe me, it is not being exterminated because the same pressure that you're feeling as how old are you, sir?
74.
Okay,
like
70, and you're a white guy?
Well, mostly.
Okay, well,
Indian blood. Forgive me for that.
Okay, well, we're all kind of something, okay? But you're a 74-year-old white guy. You, by definition of the way the world is right now, would be told that there's something wrong with you, that you're absolutely a racist, that all these things are wrong with you. We've gone over it in other shows, and that to me is the ultimate racism. That is the ultimate racism. Because of a person's skin color, because of all this.
Charles, thank you for the call, man. Great
It's
call.
a conspiracy theory. I think it's wrong. There's no process. I think it's conspiracy.
Great call, man.
Thanks.
Appreciate you. Thanks for calling in.
I hear you.
Let's take another call. Since it is Talking with Tony, let's hear from Gail out of Houston. Now, Gail, we're going to come back to you. We're going to take a little break first. 281-558-5738. Talking with Tony and Frank. He's off the deep end today. He's off the deep end. He's crazier than the Bessie bug.
No, I like talking to Tony because he actually sticks me with a fork.
You were a turkey, I wouldn't eat you. See, when you said you went down on the Pope? What?
I didn't mean it that way.
That is the worst thing I think I've ever heard.
I was tearing down the
All I listen to
comments.
is words and ideas and thoughts.
You're a simple brain, aren't you?
I am, because I heard you say I went down on the Pope.
Yeah, but I don't think about that. I'm using the
Oh,
words.
really?
No.
You want me to remind you of some things I
You
know
want me
about
to remind you of more things?
No, thank you. No, I think it's a mutual destruction.
Yes,
We're good.
We're good. We got a neutral zone.
Let's just lay back.
We got the DMZ.
Let's lay back. Yeah. But just remember, when you go in that zone, you will be shot.
Well, two people have guns.
Oh, my God. Yeah, I could say some things about you, pal.
I can say some things about you, pal.
About me?
Yeah.
I'm as clean as a day is long.
Well, a lot of the things that are known about you have already been in the paper.
It's been in the newspaper. I'm not sure. I must have missed those articles.
Yeah, I got them. I collected
them. Yeah. Just don't Google me. Last name's Busby.
Oh, man.
Did y'all have as much fun when Chad was here?
No, Chad's a great guy, and he did a great job. But he's a serious guy.
And I'm not.
No, but you're a little more flamboyant.
Flamboyant? That's interesting. I've never been accused of that before.
Yeah, no, not at all.
Yeah.
You don't have fancy, flashy cars. You don't have flashy clothes.
What?
Do we need to see your shoes tonight?
I got tassels on my shoes, pal.
Well, you're one of them tassel-shoed lawyers that Bush hated.
Yeah, that's me. Sure, Bush hated me, but not for that.
Yeah, I know that.
Not for that.
Oh, Facebook. I don't even know what Facebook is, but I love to see your comments. I do get them forwarded to me.
Hey,
every
Facebook,
week.
Let's do a poll. Who we gonna dump?
No, don't dump.
Who we gonna dump?
Don't dump anybody.
Who we gonna dump?
Don't dump anybody. Well, you can dump me if you want.
He's getting the sympathy vote.
No, you can dump me if you want.
Oh, you know they're all gonna vote for you now.
No, I don't care. Really, I do care. I think it's wonderful for the people to watch it. Who else would listen to it?
All right, we're coming back. Gail, I promised you. You want to talk about America, the land of opportunity? I'm totally on board with that. What do you got to say?
No, you just said that you wanted to live in a country that if your mother was worked in the cafeteria and your dad was a butcher, that you would have opportunities in your life, such as to run for mayor, right?
Exactly. And I think that's what we got to preserve, and that's the fight that we have.
We have that kind of country.
I agree with you. And let's keep it.
Because I know a man that was from a tiny little bitty town in Arkansas. His mother was single. She ran around with my grandmother, and it was just him and his mother. She was a working mother, and of course, he became president.
I know who you're talking about. From a little place called Hope.
That's right.
I know exactly.
And my grandmother was from a little town in Arkansas, Magnolia, and they ran around together. And I'm just saying that, that opportunity's always been here, and that's what I want to, at least stay in this country. And that was from teaching your children when you work hard, doesn't matter what background you have, when you work and you try to achieve, and you have intent to go out and be a part of this country, and you also provide, for this country in every aspect, financially, emotionally, every way, But you have to do that. You can't just say, well, let's go give them all some money. Let's give them, and I know there's people who you say, well, and I know there's kids laying here in Houston right now whose parents are not going to get up off their drugged out floor and go out and help their kids in every color. And I can guarantee you in every economic house also.
That's
Don't
true.
just say the poor.
Right.
But I'm just saying that the opportunity is out there. You just have to, and let me say one more thing, Tony.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to shut up.
No, I'm enjoying what you're saying.
I'm all for these charities giving out all these gifts, all these little things and little toys and clothes, all this stuff. I'm all for that. However, could one person just go get 3 families and educate the one person in that family, like the mother, give her an opportunity, just teach the parent to be parent.
Mm-hmm.
Just start trickling up and this type of thing. That's what our country needs to, not let's give them all health insurance. Let's give them all money. Let's give them all this. Well, that, the old saying, Tony, give a man a fish he'll eat for a day, teach him to fish he'll eat for a lifetime.
There you go. I agree with that completely.
That's the whole thing. And I hope that you will push this because you have got so much God-given opportunity right now, and right in your hands, Tony. And all the ways I'm talking about that you can reach out and do good for people, and you know what I'm talking about.
Great call, Gail. Thank you very much for that vote of confidence, and also for reminding us what I think we've been talking about, which is America and the American experiment starts with the idea that the individual is, if provided opportunity, can succeed. And as long as we protect, and I certainly did not mean to suggest, and I don't think people thought I was suggesting that it does not exist anymore, but there are places across this country where they would love to snuff that idea out.
It's under attack, and that's why I had a problem with your position with regard to Kamala and the people behind her, because they are not about individualism. They are about statism. And the problem is, for me, I'm a renegade, my friend. You know me for many years, okay?
I have indeed.
And I believe in individual freedom, and I don't want to restrict anybody else's freedom, but I sure as hell don't want them restricting mine.
Right.
And the problem is, I don't like the state telling me these things. I want to digress for a second. I'm going to bring something up. Okay?
Feel free.
Totally different than what we've been talking about in a sense, but not really. Do you know? And I've got it here on my phone.
Why do you have 2 phones again? Didn't we have this discussion?
I don't know. I might lose one. Okay? So I've got
I never trust people with 2 phones. But okay.
Well, I never trust people with 10 cars or 20 cars or whatever the hell you got.
Dun, dun, dun.
But the point is,
Okay, I stand corrected. What?
Over 600,000 people a year die of cancer.
Okay. Right.
We've had
in the United States.
Okay. We've had 200,000 people
or more
pass away, unfortunately, from COVID.
I don't believe it's from COVID. I think those numbers
those numbers are jacked up.
Okay,
whatever. So less than 2,000, 200,000 or less. Okay, I don't hold me to that number. Okay. Cancer is caused by food. It's caused by the environment. It's caused by smoking. It's caused by drinking.
Lifestyle, etc., etc.
But what is that choice? The choice is freedom. We are free to choose to eat that food. We are free to choose to drink that booze. We are free to work in Pasadena in the refineries. We make that choice. We make that sacrifice because we decide either we want it for pleasure or we want it for economy. And the bottom line is, we shut down our whole economy. We put on.
That's the point. You've made the
point.
We
put on masks. You know how many people die in automobile accidents? Also. Like 1 million something people a year. Are we going to not drive on the roads? Are we going to stop driving cars, hide in our houses?
Incidentally, where is your mask?
My mask?
Yeah.
You mean my Halloween mask?
No, the mask that to protect me. Protect me.
I don't need to protect you. You're already insulated on a number.
I do want to say, hush. I do want to say, I don't want to disclose my secrets.
I don't know any. I don't want to know your secrets.
I do want to say about Duke's Butcher Shop. I accidentally, and I apologize to Duke's. It's dukesbutchershop.com, and if you want that 10% discount that I was referring to, we've already given away 2 boxes of steaks. It's Tony B. So when you go on their website, instead of Busby, it's Tony B, and you can get yourself a real good 10% discount.
Well, let me finish this point with Trump, though.
Yeah.
You bring back the Trump when he had the COVID. You know what? You got a choice. I mean, he starkly brought it out. Look, I disagree that he came out too hot in that first debate. Mm-hmm. But if you remember the first debate Obama gave after he was president against Romney, he looked like hell. He did terrible, okay? Mm-hmm. The point is, when you're president and you're dealing with all this stuff, and then you got to debate some yahoo, I mean, you basically have a problem with it.
Well, he was definitely not into it.
He wasn't on his game, but that's not the point I want to make. The point is, Trump got COVID, okay?
Mm-hmm.
He went in and got the treatment. He came out and stood there. But he basically said, "I'm going to continue to go out. If I get, I can get exposed." He went out and exposed himself, talking to the people, trying to deliver his message. He made the choice. Okay, just like I make the choice to chew on this cigar, and I guarantee you, every doctor, if I had a doctor, would be.
When's the last time you saw a doctor?
I don't know, 10 years ago. So if they would tell me not to chew on these cigars, I make that choice, and I may die. But I make that choice, but I'm living before I die. And the point is, if you want to be, you need to be out in the world. We need to see people. We do not have to hide in basements. We don't need to. I mean, we can make the choice to do that if you want to. But to impose this stuff, like the Biden and them talk about, we're going to have everybody's going to have a national, have to do this or that. There shouldn't be any of that. That's why all that stuff happened in Michigan.
Well,
that governor up there locked down the whole state. Why do you think people went nuts?
I will say this. I mean, I think it's obviously the government needs to put out
200,000.
Needs to put out proper information and let people make their choices.
Now, for those families, it wasn't. Do you know that 60% of those 200,000 occurred in nursing homes, and do you know a large percentage of that number occurred in New York and in Pennsylvania? Where they were basically taking COVID patients and putting them back in there. These are the statistics that need to be told. What I broke my heart in the debate was that, Trump's not a lawyer. Like I said, he's not a silver-tongued devil. He's a construction worker that happens to be a wealthy billionaire guy. Even if he isn't a billionaire guy, I still like him. No matter what I just like what he does.
You clearly do. You clearly do.
Because he's a man.
And you scream about it all the time.
Because I'm tired of people.
And screams. And one thing I tried to explain.
I'm tired of people putting down leadership.
The first debate, I had a firm-wide meeting with all my lawyers via Zoom. Okay, take it easy. Take it easy, big boy.
By the way, another Chinese technology.
Okay, take it easy, big boy. Take it easy. I had a firm-wide meeting, and one of the things we talked about was anger and emotion, the way that you're displaying it at this moment in time.
Do I need to talk about the kind of anger and emotion you showed in your deposition the other day?
It's not persuasive.
You thought it was persuasive?
It's not persuasive.
Well, I think it's persuasive.
Shouting, and this is what I want to segue because we got one more segment. But I watched
Oh, shoot.
I watched a...
Show's almost over. I want to do another hour.
Hold up. No, we don't need another hour.
I gotta go.
I want to go have dinner with my fiance.
Well, you do that. I'll do another hour.
And I'm sure people will call in, too.
Take some more.
Wait a minute. I've got a point that I want to make because it's very important to me. There is for those of you like me who enjoy a good documentary, there's a documentary that's on Netflix currently. It's called No Safe Space. And it's Adam Carolla and a few other people talking about the situation as it exists currently on college campuses across the United States, where basically, unless you have one particular view, you were not just shouted down, not just silenced, but also assaulted. And
how do you respond to that?
It's happening.
How do you respond to that?
I understand. You have to fight back. But my point is, it's happening all over the country. And it's not just something that's happening at UC Berkeley. It's not just happening
everywhere.
It's not just happening, at Yale or at Harvard. It's happening at Texas A&M.
Yeah.
It's happening it's happening at most college campuses across, even in the middle part of the country, not just the so-called flyover areas. They're not just the college professors, but also the students and the student organizations. If you have any contrary view, the view that's not that, and that's not liberalism, guys. Liberalism is listening to various viewpoints and making decision based on ideas.
Do you know Latin?
But this is leftist agenda. There's a leftist agenda which is completely separate from liberalism, and it's going all across the United States. I want you to watch this documentary. It's very disturbing. It's incredibly disturbing because the idea of a university where you could have an exchange of ideas, where a little guy that comes out of a little place called Atlanta, Texas, population 2,031, could go to a school and learn new ideas and be shown a little bit of, obviously College Station is not the most, raging metropolitan area in the country, but for me it exposed me to the world, and then I went into the Marines and obviously learned a lot more, and now here I'm in Houston, Texas, one of the great cities in the country. But we got a problem. We have a real problem on these campuses.
Don't try to make it.
We have a real problem.
You can't make accommodations with the enemy.
Well, we're going to come back. 281-558-5738. I want to talk about the president and COVID and Frank's thoughts on that. We'll be right back. This is our last segment. Very concerned about.
Well, that's why I was talking about the 1619 project or whatever it is. Where they're trying to change history that they're telling the kids. The kids are being brainwashed, and the point is, you got these army of kids. When I say kids, I'm talking about young people, students, whatever, in their 20s, whatever. They've all been brainwashed that this country is an evil place. I was brainwashed. The country was the best place on earth.
Exactly, and that's what makes the country grow and thrive when you're told.
And I'm not even historically in a sense, because my folks didn't come till the turn of the 20th century and late 19th century, but they wanted to come here. But they wanted to be American. They wanted to embrace the history of it. When I see movies like The Patriot with Mel Gibson, it makes my skin like crawl. In a positive way. I'm enthusiastic. And the other thing I want to tell you is this, and we should play it sometime, Tony. I got the history of the national anthem. Okay. And
have you looked at the third verse?
Yeah, I've read the whole thing. Okay. But the point is, it was either the national anthem or Star Spangled Banner. I can't. I have to get the reference. But the point is, it arose. Was it Francis Scott Key?
Francis Scott Key.
Okay. Francis
Star
Scott
Spangled
Key.
Banner. Mm-hmm.
Right. Star Spangled Banner. Sorry, I missaid the national anthem. But Francis Scott Key's Star Spangled Banner. He was actually on a British ship. They were getting ready to bomb Fort McHenry. Okay?
Remember, I have a piece of the flag.
Yeah. Okay. But this is the deal. And the words from that song came from what happened on that day, where there were patriots actually running to the flagpole to hold it up, and so that it would still be flying in the morning. Because the British told them if it was down, then they would have surrendered as the United States. They'd be subject to British rule.
Yeah.
And yet the patriots died, and when they died, others came to hold it up. That's what freedom's about. That's what we need to do today. We don't need to surrender to this. We need to stand up. White, black, yellow, red, Christians, Muslims, Jews, Buddhists, atheists. We need to maintain
now
our
that's
freedom.
some bumper music. Yeah, little Kid Rock. Love it. Frank, do you believe that we have a caller calling all the way from Australia?
Oh, Jesus. Now,
yes.
No.
It says Matt. It doesn't say
99% of the people from Australia are absolutely in line with what I'm talking about. But this guy,
you don't know who this is, Matt.
It's probably
what do you got? It's not my brother.
It's a front for your brother.
What do you got, Matt? What do you got?
How are you? How are you? How are you?
Good.
Hey, did the dingo eat the baby?
The dingo ate your baby.
Yeah.
Hey, just quickly, sorry, Tony, your brother's actually not with me right now because I think he's planting some trees up at his new house.
Oh, boy.
Frank doesn't like my brother very much.
What are you going to tell me here? That the Australians will drum you out.
Listen, let's not forget, Australia started with a bunch of convicts from England. Let's not forget that.
What the hell happened to you? You sound like a passive. I don't know what you're going to ask me, but I know it's going to be some communism there.
My family comes from Holland, so we came on the boat.
Oh, well, Poland took it bad.
No, he said Holland, not Poland.
Anyway.
Oh.
Holland, not Poland.
Tim is not here right now. I think he's up at
I tell my brother I said hey, and I love Melbourne. All right.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So, look, I wanted to ask you, firstly, Tony, I wanted to congratulate you on your comments the other day regarding the VP race. I thought that was really candid, and I know your brother appreciated it too.
You don't even live here. You don't know what kind of communism they're trying to put in here. What are you talking about?
Frank is really triggered. Go ahead.
Oh, I really like it at the VP race when basically the person is like trying to change his country, okay, trying to change it for the worse.
The First Amendment protects my ability to say what the devil I please.
Yeah, well, you're saying what you really think today, but over there, you
go
don't
ahead,
know who you were.
Matt. Go ahead. He's just interrupting you. Sounds like somebody else I know.
No, but I know this is a setup call. This is a fake news call.
What I wanted to talk about here was the current. You talked about obviously Trump and him contracting COVID and things, but for me, the most important thing at the moment is the fact of the lack of support, the bailout for people in your country. And in Houston, obviously, at the moment, Tony, sadly, you've got people in your state and your town at the moment that are homeless, are being evicted from
Matt,
homes.
what do you know about my state and my city? You don't know anything about my state and my city. When's the last time you've been to my state and my city?
We don't have a lot of homeless here. And if they're homeless,
they're in California.
And if they're homeless, they go to work.
What are you talking about, Matt? I was very receptive to you at first, and now all of a sudden you're criticizing my state and my city.
No,
I don't.
No,
I mean,
Matt.
I like you Australians, but I don't like you that much anymore.
No,
I got to be honest.
I mean, give me a break. Trump had the lowest unemployment rate among African Americans, Latinos, and women in the.
Hey, just do me a favor. Throw another shrimp on the bobby.
But my question, guys, is the fact that it's not about anything to do with bipartisanship at the moment. It's the fact of poor people actually being evicted from homes because of rent and lack of money.
What are you talking about?
In Houston, there's no evictions.
What are you talking about? That ain't happening, man. It ain't happening. It's fake news.
I got Tony to say fake news. Hey, buddy.
I actually got this guy's from
Put this hat on.
Come
on, Tony.
No.
Put the hat on.
I'm not wearing that hat.
Wait,
Matt,
look on you.
Matt, you know I'm fooling with you, right? I mean, obviously, I'm very concerned about.
Hey, Matt. You know what they're doing with the homeless? In fact, we had a whole bunch of things here, actually, in Houston happening. They're basically trying to bribe them to get a ballot so that they can go vote when they don't even know who they're voting for.
I don't know about that, Matt. But
I do know about it. There's people been arrested.
Can I talk to Matt for just a second? Take it easy.
So.
Okay, thank you. Listen, I do want to say this. I'm very concerned about the homeless population in Houston. I do think, obviously, this COVID has put more pressure on people who can't afford to pay their rent. I will tell you this. There are programs in the state of Texas and in Houston that are helping. As far as I'm concerned, one person living on the street is too many. But when you compare the economy of Houston and the state of Texas, and you compare it with California and the amount of homeless in San Francisco and Los Angeles and San Diego, there's no comparison. We're talking about literally the difference between, 150% more there. So for whatever reason, whether it's just a function of the Texas economy or the Houston economy, I got to say, even obviously I'm not a huge fan of our current mayor, which is why I ran to be the mayor. I had some plans for the homelessness issue. I think there's a lot of things that can still be done. Obviously, a global pandemic like this is putting a lot of pressure on a lot of different people, every facet of life. But I will say, as far as Houston and Texas goes, we're doing pretty good. So how are
you? You know why? Because we're individualistic and we emphasize the individual.
Well, I will
and we
say
work
this about the
hard.
Australians is that
they are too.
I've spent a lot of time in Australia. I've only been to Melbourne once, but I've been to Sydney, of course, and Perth, and all over Australia. And great people. And even when you get screamed at, you got a really good.
Yeah, but they're individualistic and they're hard
work.
work.
Yeah, we're doing okay.
They're
Thanks for the
individualistic
call.
and hard work.
Thanks for the call. And tell my bro I said hey.
Tell his brother to call me.
Yeah, they want to have a fight, man, I guess. Thanks for the call, man. We got to take a call from Sharon. We only got a few minutes left, but Sharon has always been our
she's a loyalist supporter.
Our absolute best fan. Sharon, what you got?
Thank you, Tony. Good to have you back.
Thank
we
you.
missed you last week.
Did you miss me?
Yes, we did.
How did it go without me? I mean, I can't imagine.
It went very well. Frank did a good job, but we did miss you. But I do want to say
Sharon, you just started this conversation. It was going so well. Now I feel like that I took a long walk on a short pier.
No. Just take it for you. My time is short, Tony.
Your time is short, and it's getting shorter. The more you say something positive about Frank, the shorter your time becomes.
Go ahead, Sharon. Ask your question.
You're acting like those moderators. You got 2 minutes. Go.
Go.
Stop. Now you got to stop. No, can't. Anyway, that's why I'm glad Trump's not going to go into that stupid virtual debate.
I agree.
I did hear him on Radio Rally today on Rush Limbaugh show. He's full of zeal and zest, ready to go. He talked for 2 hours straight, uninterrupted. It was great. He covered
I wish Tony would give me that time.
He covered all
not
the
going
topics
to happen
that people are calling in and asking about. But what I want to say is one caller just a few calls back, he mentioned something. Y'all were talking about the Supreme Court and the percentages of blacks and different minorities.
No, what he said was there weren't enough Protestants on the Supreme Court.
Yeah. Okay, so but somebody mentioned blacks, and I just want to remind everybody we've got one very competent, wonderful black justice.
Which, by the way, he went to my undergraduate school.
Oh, good. Okay, Clarence Thomas. And I want to also remind everybody that Joe Biden tried to smear him when he was appointed. And he stood strong, and he made it through. But Joe Biden is a genuine racist. And he tried to smear Clarence Thomas.
Well, even Kamala Harris made that point on the stage, but now she's in bed with him, so to speak.
Yeah, and Kamala
Sharon,
Harris owned...
Call back next week, Sharon. I got to be the moderator here. Got to cut
Sharon,
you off.
We're going to take your call
You're the
first,
best.
so call in
You're the
first
best.
next week because we want to hear from you.
This has been Talking with Tony on a Friday afternoon. I'm going to go have dinner with my fiance. Frank, as always, it's been something.
It's been my pleasure.
Oh, it's been something like that, too. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks for listening in.
You've been listening to Talking with Tony. Join us every Friday at 6 p.m. with Tony Busby here on the Voice of Texas, AM 700 KSEV.